The waters of Waikiki are constantly changing, and it is important for science to establish water quality monitoring to gauge the state of the sea. We test the seawater for 7 different factors that come into play when judging the water quality of Lamala Bay. Based off the results, we can immediately tell a lot about the health of the ocean at that particular time. If the water is hard to see through, then there is a high concentration of particles floating in the water, obstructing light trying to penetrate through. Low visibility is attributed to wave action, tidal fluctuations, and a handful of other variables that collectively contribute to water clarity. By volunteering with our monthly water quality monitoring, you will experience an hour in the life of a water specialist.
Turbidity. Turbidity is the amount of suspended particles in the water. These particles can be algae, suspended sediment, and organic matter, anything that decreases the clarity of the water basically. Excessive amounts of particles in the water will reduce the amount of sunlight reaching the bottom of the water, thus inhibiting photosynthesis of aquatic plants and zooxanthellae within coral polyps. Nutrients. There are 2 types of nutrients we test for. One is nitrate. Nitrate is a nutrient required by all aquatic plants and animals to grow. Problems arise when there are excessive amounts of nitrates in the water, leading to algae growth and possible algal blooms. When these plants die, the bacterial community will decompose the plants. As part of the decomposing process, the bacteria will use up some of the dissolved oxygen in the water, thus decreasing the amount of oxygen available for other organisms. Phosphorus is another fundamental nutrient for plant and animal growth. Again, an overabundance of phosphorus in the water will lead to an overgrowth of plants. Dissolved oxygen. Dissolved oxygen is the amount of oxygen dissolved within the water. It is directly related to the temperature of the water and is also expressed as percent saturation, or the amount of oxygen in 1 liter of water relative to the temperature of the water. The colder the water, the more oxygen it can hold. pH measures how acidic or basic the water is. Pure water will have a pH of 7, acidic water will have a pH of less than 7, and basic water will be greater than 7. For many organisms, a small range in pH is required for cellular metabolism. Differences in pH can also alter the toxicity of some chemicals in the water like mercury and ammonia. Temperature is one of the most important parameters of water quality from a chemical and biological point of view. It is directly related to the amount of oxygen a body of water can hold. The temperature of the water can also determine the rate of photosynthesis and metabolic rates of organisms. For some species, temperature change influences the timing of reproduction and migration. Salinity is the amount of salts dissolved in the water, usually measured in parts per thousand. The majority of salts dissolved in seawater are ions, or electronically charged atoms. In addition to providing information on the chemical composition of water, salinity also determines what species can survive. Aquatic organisms are very sensitive to changes in salinity. The most fascinating aspect of Waikiki is the ocean and the beach. To measure health and quality, we incorporate water quality monitoring within our programs. Increasingly, there are more impermeable surfaces that discharge polluted water into the oceans. We can measure this through water quality monitoring on a month-to-month basis. This usually happens on the 2nd Monday of every month. Save the date. We'll hope to see you out there at Queens Beach. Aloha!